How's life treating you? How's Leapfrog?
Uh, Leapfrog is leaping. It's doing well. We're making great momentum at the moment. Um, yeah, I mean, where can I start for you?
Give me some context on you, the team, and what you're building.
Awesome. Well, I'm Matt, um, based out of London, same as the other two, and we're building Leapfrog, which is the AI layer for the cloud. So the cloud is incredibly complex, and infrastructure is scaling to a size that is becoming, you know, unsustainable for humans to continue to manage. So we're trying to build that sort of layer in between to help manage that scale. Um, so yeah, we started out about February of this year, and we've been moving quickly. We managed to raise our first round, brought on a couple
Congrats.
of early hires.
How was the first round? I've got a gong here, right? I brought it out because I knew that there was funding rounds coming up. Tell me, what was the round?
So it's just an angel round,
How big?
nothing crazy. It was 315
We love to see it.
USD. Yes. And the investment round was we were super fortunate to have the investors that we do. We've got some great people, senior people from the likes of GitHub, so quite relevant to our industry.
Cloud today
And
is deeply important. So yeah, GitHub on board is
e-
probably a good idea.
exactly. And yeah, we managed to raise it pretty swiftly, which allowed us to then focus on the main thing, which was building and talking to customers, which we've been doing for the last however many months it's been now. So yeah, it's going well. It's positive.
Okay, can we break down the thesis of Leapfrog? I'm not too well versed in cloud. I have done my research, and so hopefully we can have an engaging conversation today. But break it
Of
down
course.
for me. Why does Leapfrog need to exist? And for instance, it's obviously moving in the right direction. You're obviously building something of value, given the round was so quick to kind of close that angel round. Talk to me.
Yeah, of course. So there's a couple of different. The cloud is so broad, right? So vast, and there's so many different aspects of it. There's so many different clouds, and we have sort of three main pillars. So I'll talk you through those and help you understand sort of where we're going. So um, building in the cloud in general, if you're using Terraform, which is the sort of most popular infrastructure as code framework, you, each different cloud is very specific syntax. So if you're building in AWS, you could be an expert, but you may not be in GCP. Likewise with Azure, Oracle, whichever other cloud it may be. And one of the issues there is that if you're a sort of DevOps engineer that writes a lot of Terraform, you move to another company, they're GCP, you're previously AWS, you're kind of stuck in ground one. Obviously, you can understand where you're going, but you're going to have to learn it all over again. What we can do with the first pillar, which is our build pillar, is you can build Terraform in the same way you can use Cursor or Lovable or any of these other tools, natural language, and you can go in as big a depth as possible to really build as complex of a system that you want. And we can do that across any cloud. It's not just the big three. It's anyone. It could be the smallest vendor possible. We can connect to anyone. That's the beauty of the way the platform's been built. Um, and sort of what comes from the ability to do that as well is we can migrate between different clouds, which is a huge you know issue for. I'm trying really hard to keep my swear words to a minimum.
It's
So
okay. You're more than happy. You're more than happy to swear. We'll just bleep it out on the clips.
yeah, so migrations is a massive industry in itself, right? You've got all these big consulting firms that do it. Companies will do it all the time because of they'll get new customers or they might get 500,000 in credits from
What's the
one of the
phrase they wrap
providers.
it up under? Digital transformation.
Yeah, digital transformation. A little bit outdated, I think that terminology now, but yeah, even migrating from on-prem solutions to the cloud, we can do that in way quicker time through the use of our AI platform. And um, so that's sort of our second pillar of the business. And the third one is manage. And that's sort of our key area because when you are building in a cloud, about 10% of it is building, 90% is then making sure that it's maintained and it's healthy post deployment. And with Leapfrog, we're building this really unique feature where if something were to go wrong, or there was an alert, or some drift detected, for example, you would have to find the source of the issue. Then you would have to act on the issue, build it, fix it, whatever it may be. That's time and that's money because you're paying to have a developer to be able to do that. And so for the big enterprises, it's totally fine because they've got massive amount of resources. But startups who are trying to move at speed probably don't have specific DevOps knowledge, especially not at the early stage, or they might have one person, but they've got to go through all that themselves. With our platform, there's sort of like a one-click fix that you can do and it will be done. But obviously we also trust that AI is in its sort of elementary stage and people won't trust it straight away. So there's also a list where you can manually just figure out what the issue is first. The instructions are presented to you. But yeah, as a three, it's sort of this sort of new, platform that surrounds making every aspect of cloud management building and just tremendously easier.
When we're thinking about what Leapfrog can do and sort of the innovations moving forward in AI, the models get better, the compute gets better, etc. Do you not just feel that the cloud providers are going to make this easy? Like, why does Leapfrog need to exist? Or is that not their focus?
It's a good question. Amazon have produced Amazon Q, which is essentially, not to do a similar of a product, but it's like when Copilot came out for the first time and was just completely crap. It's the exact same thing. You really can't do that much, and it's specific just to AWS, right? The cloud market is so vast. AWS is a huge player, but there's so much more of the market to go with, and some people like building multi-cloud. So there is definitely a world where they try and make it easier, but that's not their business, right? Their business is just selling compute. They know that the customers, they want the big enterprise contract. They'll pay for, the talent necessary. I don't think within the next sort of 3 to 5 years, we have anything to worry about.
Is it better that you build with multi-cloud or just a single cloud provider these days?
Depends what depends what you're trying to do, what you're trying to achieve. You can get some people prefer different clouds, to different ones for different features. Some give more credits. I know that Google has a really, really generous startup program where they give you a lot more than AWS will. So that's a reason. With enterprises, they often have similar deals where it's like, build with us, we'll give you 500,000 credits for free, and then they get the rest of their compute. So some customers also prefer, if they're, say, Azure based predominantly, they'll want you to service the tool that they're buying off you through AWS, Azure as well. So yeah, it just very much depends on your strategy as a business.
What's the vision long term for this? Is it just to be this sort of a managing switching agent that sits between all cloud providers and makes everyone's lives just significantly easier?
It's not far off. Yeah, we're trying to build essentially. It's just an AI DevOps engineer. So you would need, sort of the management level, and then they will have the ability of having a team beneath them.
So it's like Devin for DevOps.
That is the best sort of analogy to use. Yeah,
love it.
It's Devin for DevOps. We see Leapfrog being in the majority of most tech businesses, or anyone that's using the cloud, and known that if you're not using Leapfrog, then you're one of the ones who is going to have a more higher chance of being down or having a vulnerability found, all that sort of stuff.
Where did the idea for Leapfrog span from? Was it your work previously, or was it something that you stumbled into, while in another role?
It was. So I was actually building my own sort of version of Lovable before Lovable came out. Theirs was better though, I'll give them that. And I just had this big conviction that software is going to be better written by AI than humans. And then I actually met someone who sort of said, "Oh, this would be fantastic for Terraform," and I sort of, "Oh yeah, I've had a tough time with deploying things in the past for sure." And then sort of just really went into a deep dive, and I was like, "This is the perfect use case for it." because people hate, writing Terraform code. It's long, it's lethargic, and that's sort of where the idea from Leapfrog came. And then I met my two co-founders, and they both had similar visions as well, or were like toying around with their own version of the platform. And then we just kind of met, and it just came from there, really.
Why do you think this trio works well?
The trio is in my team.
Yeah, the team. Sorry.
I think apart from being, we have really strong talent. Each three of us bring different strengths to the table, and there's not much crossover. I think we're also friends, and we've only actually known each other for just under a year, and it's like we've known each other for a really long time. It's like I walked into the room and was like, oh, we're best friends. That's fantastic. And what that allows is that when something may not be going fantastic, there's no sort of like worry around just calling somebody out, because we've got that level of respect between us. And I think we all just want to build a really big company. So I think all of that sort of combined, it's such a natural flow. I've had a company in the past that I had two other co-founders, and it just was nowhere near the same. Whereas with these guys, they want to move as fast. We all want to compete with each other of who wants to move the fastest, and that in itself, I think, is just a really healthy, thing to have internally.
Are there other competitive tools in the same space?
There are. There is a tool around the build function, just around that is only for AWS, so we don't really see it as a competitor. But then more on the sort of managed size and more in the application layer rather than the cloud layer, we've seen some companies raise some pretty big rounds, the likes of sort of 20 million Series A. There was a 48 million seed and Series A, where they're focusing on that manage feature where something's gone wrong. They're able to figure out what it is straight away and give you the sort of instructions of how to fix it. What we haven't seen is anyone who actually can do the fix through the platform, and that's what we're hoping to do. So very early stages. This was in the last 2 months. They've both raised
20 million in the last 2 months. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah, they've been around for a little bit longer. I think some of them have pivoted, but it's encouraging for us to know that this is it's a massive
right space, right time. There's a good amount of capital, a healthy amount of capital being poured into it.
Yeah.
What's really interesting is obviously you're playing at the intersection of cloud. You're doing the managing, the fixes as well. How much is the cost of a fix these days?
So again, there's quite a few different numbers depending on what the issue is. But if something goes wrong in the cloud, you usually have an agreement with somebody that you need to get it fixed by a certain amount of time, and then it's all hands on deck to bring it back up to speed, which is sort of abbreviated as MTTR, mean time to recovery. And the whole art of Devops is getting that as low as possible. And I think on average, it's a couple of hours. I think sort of 4 to 8, depending on the organization. But those 4 to 8 hours is money cost. So for a large enterprise that's down, it's about $5,500 a minute in lost costs. So if you do the maths, that works out to be quite a lot of money. I think it's about 300 and something an hour. Times that by 4 to 8, you're racking up into the millions pretty quickly. So it's massive. And then it goes from being a DevOps problem to a CEO problem pretty quickly. And then somebody somewhere is probably not having a great day. So it can be massive. If it's a security attack, it could be way worse. Someone could be stealing money or customer data or blackmailing somebody. I think that the CrowdStrike issue was 10 billion worth of damage, something like that. So yeah, it can be really, really big.
Really interesting. So you're solving a real problem here, and if there is something that goes wrong in the cloud and you need to fix it, you have these opportunities too in the fix function. But then from a managing function of when that's solved, we now have the ability to understand the transparency of what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, we can also, with our platform, that's super unique, is you can actually talk to your cloud.
Explain that for me. Hold on.
So AGI is here. No, I'm joking. So basically, we gather all of the data that comes into your cloud, and we sit in between, and then we feed that into our model, and then you are able to say, okay, do I have any resources that aren't getting any traffic that I could save money on? Yes. Okay, let's get rid of those. Do I have any vulnerabilities that you see like growing? Yes. Okay, let's go and tackle those. That sort of stuff. Or you could just be like, oh, what's my most used resource? What's burning me the most money? Or anything that you could think of. It can source the info and bring it back to you in a real conversational way. So then if you're, say, a new person joining the team and you don't have much context, or the previous person left you some like really crap documentation, you don't need it anymore, because you can just talk to your cloud as well.
Really interesting. I like the idea of being able to talk to the cloud. It feels like the natural step that every DevOps engineer would need. The GPT or the chat kind of functionality, instead of having to, I assume, crawl through a dashboard or crawl through code.
Yeah, I mean, it's the natural evolution, I think, of the whole AI. It's what it does, right? It brings you the information, even with search, rather than going on Google and looking through all the possible opportunities to find what it is you're looking for. With ChatGPT, it comes to you straight away, and that's all we're trying to do, but for the cloud and every different aspect of it.
What does go-to-market look like right now? Are you sitting with DevOps engineers and trying to deeply understand how this fits into their workflow? Or is that already sussed and now it's just go build platform?
So we've already done the conversation aspect. I think we spoke in total to over 50 engineers from different levels, startups to enterprises, and got such a varied amount of use cases, which was really great. But there was this, underlying issue of it's time consuming, and there's an awful lot of data to be sieved through. So we, from that, we've then used all of sort of customer prospect conversations to then build the platform. So we have the platform built and working really, really well. And we've got some early customers that we're working with as well, that's really helping us shape certain features and making sure that it really is providing this value. And then once it's that whole, I think it's the YC thing, where it's like, stay small and then scale once you know that you've got it. So we're really following that pattern. And
is the goal to continue building out in Europe and the UK, or is it like at some point we're going to go to the Valley, probably raise another round, talk to the people there, and sort of, get the aura that comes with the Valley?
Yeah, Leapfrog is a US company. We set it up in the US, and that was always been the plan. The market for cloud over there is it's the biggest market in the world. So we'd be shooting ourselves in the foot if we didn't. So yeah, that's basically the plan over the next few months, is to scale up, revenue, show that we've got those early signs of product market fit, and then be able to go to the Valley and raise some more money to a similar size as those other companies I mentioned earlier.
Is there a specific area in the US you're looking at? Is New York more well positioned for your product at Leapfrog, or is San Francisco, California, or is it Texas?
Do you know what? It's probably either California or New York. We've looked at both options, and there's some fantastic cloud companies that are headquartered in New York, like Datadog. They're based out of there. But then there's also, the Valley, the talent there. So we're exploring different options. There's also a tax, the boring stuff. There's different tax laws. The
boring stuff is what keeps us on our toes.
Yeah, well, some people say cloud is boring, so I totally agree with you.
They say that and don't realize there's a 20 million funding round going on behind the backs.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's either one. To be honest, I spent some time in San Francisco about a month ago. I'd never properly been, so I wanted to see, okay, cool, does this really feel the vibe? And
tell me the vibes.
Phenomenal. I wish we had it in Europe. I really do. I know that it's trying to be emulated, and I think I'll be one of the ones, unfortunately, who doesn't see it until it's created, because it's something new. Even in the air, you can smell it. and its
What
innovation.
does it what does it smell like? Is success is the wrong word. Is it hunger for technology? Is it innovation? What is it?
I think it's speed. It's you've got to move fast to make it. Obviously, you've got to be smart as well.